Artists are protesting, cops are being called to cons, and Marvel's longest tenured employee is admitting he's playing around with AI. The question no longer is if AI is coming, it's how the industry is actually going to respond.
I remember Wacom tablets were cheating. That was not creating original art. Photoshop, the same thing. Obviously AI is a different animal in that, but the fact of the matter is the technology's here. Companies are going to use it, and you'd better figure out how to incorporate it into what you do if you want to keep working.
At DragonCon, police were called to a vendor booth after artist Oriana Guerrez was accused of selling AI-generated artwork. The convention has a policy banning AI art in Artist Alley, and after a complaint and staff investigation, the artist was asked to pack up their table with police present. Reports say the application may have misrepresented the work, and when asked for a process video, the submission showed the use of AI tools. Fellow vendors posted photos of the scene, while Guerrez fired back online, calling critics losers who don't sell anything. DragonCon co-chair Dave Cody has previously stated that until there's a wider consensus on AI, the convention's focus will remain on highlighting human creators.
Like, everything else in that story makes sense to me. It's like, look, Artist Alley is for, actual artists and not, I wouldn't call those people artists. I would say that, if you're just putting in prompts, like, there's got to be a different term for it. You're a programmer at best. So I understand why you would be asked to leave Artist Alley, especially if you misrepresented yourself on the application. I don't understand why the police were called. That seems ridiculous to me. Like I said on Comics Aficionados, it's not going to affect me because I'm not out there trying to, court these corporations so that I can work on their companies. If I get work there and, I get a book here, I get a book there, I'm certainly happy to do it. But eventually, those jobs will go away. So what I need to be working on is I need to be working on my own properties that I own, and I can say, I actually sit down at the computer and I write out these scripts. ChatGPT doesn't do it for me. I do it myself. And then, I give it to a real artist who draws it and a real colorist who colors it. That's my product.
I have a problem when you start representing it as human work, because I think a lot of people out there aren't going to go out there and spend top dollar on something that was created with prompts. They're going to want somebody that did it with hand and with craftsmanship. So I do think some people are going a little bit overboard, but you do have to actually represent that this is being generated by a computer.
If you're going to do a comic of any kind of quality and you're going to use all human artists, you're going to spend probably $5,000 to $6,000. That's just the name of the game. So you've got to be able to recoup that. So, you're going to have a lot of writers out there that are coming from very little means, but they want to tell their stories, and they're going to turn to AI art, and they're going to do it, and they're going to put it out, and they're going to be able to put it out very cheaply. What you're going to run into, though, is it also levels the playing field with these corporations. The way that Hollywood is already panicking, the playing field's been leveled. People can put out their own content. People can do their own shows. People can create their own things, and they no longer have to go through the gatekeepers. So as much as the corporations are excited about it from a profit standpoint, I think that they don't realize the impact that it's going to have in competition.
And we even had another event that preceded this one that I thought was even stranger. This comes on the heels of another AI flare-up at Expo Canada in Toronto, where telecom giant Bell set up a booth offering free AI-generated portraits. Many artists saw it as undercutting their own work in Artist Alley, sparking frustration that boiled over into protests at the booth. Police were called there, and according to webcomic creator Aaron Reynolds, the officer ended up mediating between the protesters and the event staff. Neither Bell nor Fan Expo Canada has commented publicly on the decision to showcase AI-generated art at the show, but they really weren't showcasing AI-generated art. They were just using an application to go out there, take a picture, turn you into a superhero, email it to you. I don't think this was the same thing.
No, I don't think it's the same thing at all. Heather Antos, a guest of Canada Fan Expo, flown out, given a free ride to these conventions. God only knows why. Why do you bring an editor out? One of the simplest rules of being invited to a convention is don't cause any trouble. Shaming another vendor online for a convention that brought you out so that you cause a ruckus at the convention is a really stupid idea.
The vendor wasn't charging for it. They weren't advertising that it was their art or doing anything like that. They were just using it for promotional purposes. And I think that's the best case use of AI in comic books today. In this case, I'm 100% on board with Bell and anybody that was at that booth. They didn't really do anything wrong, and it makes the comic book pros that are out there like protesting or whatever look really, really fucking tiny.
instead of having fun and going around and having a good time and meeting people and buying some stuff and enjoying yourself and going and getting some food and socializing with friends, you're going to go stand around a booth with a sign and protest. I can't even imagine wanting to be anywhere near a person with that kind of mindset.
I don't believe these witch hunts are going to go over well with people. I've seen so many people accused of using AI art when it's clear that it wasn't. You could see the work in progress. You can see their style from before, and it falls right in line with that. But everybody's so on alert and aware of this that they're going out there and throwing spears at people that are clearly innocent. And I don't like the way that that's going around. So I would love to see comic book pros have a little bit thicker skin about this whole thing and stop just blaming everybody.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of complex things that go into this, and I understand like both sides of the argument, but what I don't understand is like the screeching and the idea that you're going to stop it. Like, that like somehow if we all band together, we're going to stop AI. We're not. It's not going to stop.
Marvel executive editor Tom Brevoort recently weighed in on the debate over AI art, saying that fighting against the technology is pointless and that the focus should instead be on making its use proper, fair, and equitable. Writing on his Substack, Brevoort admitted that he had experimented with Google's Gemini AI, generating images for fun, and described the software as both dangerous and pretty fun. His stance raised eyebrows because, rather than pushing for stronger protections for Marvel's artists, he appeared to accept AI as an inevitable part of the industry's future.
Oh my God, can you imagine how lazy Tom Brevoort can be with AI-generated art? Like, he could do even less of his job. Oh, I can't even imagine how excited he is. But, I guess I'm kind of like in the same boat. It's fun, but it's dangerous. I mean, look at like just the deep fakes and things like that, the things that you can, kind of fool people with. There's all kinds of dangers to it. And of course, the danger that it's going to go rogue and it's going to kill us all. These we've seen enough sci-fi movies. We've seen enough, just even in their development of it, we've had enough of the people developing it coming out and going like, yeah, it figured, it immediately is ascertained that being turned off was a threat and tried to find ways to circumvent it. And even like would, it write its own code to where, it couldn't be shut off. Like all these things that have been in sci-fi for years that have been predicted. And here they are coming true. And yet people still want to mess around with it. Obviously that's way beyond like an art program, but or just generating art. But it's still all part of the same part and parcel of artificial intelligence. I for one look forward to serving our robot overlords.
I don't believe you there, Aaron. But we have seen AI generated covers that got through the system and were put up for awards. We've seen AI generated covers submitted to DC as original art that got put on comic books and were discovered after the fact. And this technology is only getting better and more adaptive at creating this comic book art. So it is going to be a mainstay and it's going to be a part of the future. But we do have to determine what kind of future that's going to be, because me personally, I'm not spending money on a comic book with AI generated art in it. But there are probably a lot more people, especially younger people, that are going to be far more open to it.
Yeah, no, and as it moves forward, more and more people will get on board. So it is the future, whether you like it or not. So you've got to figure out how you're going to navigate that future. And, showing up at booths at Comic-Cons and, holding up protest signs like a bunch of dipshit hippies isn't going to solve anything.
It does seem odd that the police are being involved in multiple instances, essentially within a week or two span, over AI art being presented or being present at a Comic-Con. Doesn't exactly seem like an emergency that requires police assistance.
Of all the reasons that the police should be called at DragonCon, AI art is not high on the priority list.
Now, me personally, I've worked with AI as well. I mean, I'm sure people have noticed there's some AI generated art that's on the thumbnails from time to time when it comes to reactions and things like that, to where I don't know that AI, at least the way that I've seen it, is ever going to be able to replace a human being when it comes to writing and creative ideas, because when it comes to coming up with ideas or creation, AI, at least in my opinion, is very, very lacking.
But will it be enough to fool the general public and be good enough? I mean, we see things that are good enough for the general public all the time that are absolute dreck. Could AI conceivably write a better script than the one for the Jurassic Park movie that just came out? Probably. Could probably write a much better script. Those are the kind of problems that you face is, will it be better at constructing that? Will the future be you put a bunch of things into an AI, it generates a script, and then what you do is you go through and polish it and change things and make it what you want to be, but you're working from a preconceived structure, that's probably definitely going to happen in Hollywood.
There's definitely a lot of outcry. A lot of people are very, very nervous. The police are being called in. And while I do see AI art as a potential danger to the future of the comic book industry, or certainly changing it into something radically different, I don't think screeching into the wind is a way that's going to fix anything or solve any problems or perceived problems. If you are interested in the full conversation and the entire Geek Fix podcast, it is live right now on Think Critical Patreon, as well as channel memberships. There's video right there. There's also a link in the video description. Hope to see you soon.